Hi guys, Tony and Sarah Zalecki, Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are freezing. We are wondering where the heck spring is, but we are crossing our fingers that it's right around the corner. So hi everybody, welcome, and hi replayers. I know a lot of you guys are going to be jumping on watching the replay. If you're just joining us, get a little crazy, feel free to drop an emoji. Let me know how you're feeling, what's happening in your world. And we've got a good live today. We're excited to talk to you guys about it. And if you're anything like us, if you are a control freak, whether you're willing to admit it or not, and if you are someone that what we call a martyr in the business, you're going to want to watch this whole live. It's going to be some good stuff on here that we feel will help you guys be impacted in a great way to just have a lot more fun in your business, but also more fun in your life.
Yep.
So, hi guys.
What's going on? If you're new, please put in new, type in new. We'd love to know who you are and get connected with you.
Los Angeles, send us some heat. Please, Julio, we need some heat so bad.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so I mean, when we were building a business, as we build a business, I remember this happened early on a lot, is that, we wanted success for everybody, no matter what. And we would drag people across the finish line, and they would, we would do that, and when it came down to it, we would always talk about it. They didn't want to be dragged across the finish line. Their actions speak for themselves, and we're trying to save people who don't want to be saved, right, babe?
Right. I mean, I always use the analogy of this. How many guys are have a dog, right? Drop me a one if you have a dog, right? So think about taking a dog out on a walk. And how many guys have ever seen people when they're walking their dog? A lot of times they're dragging the dog along, right? And you're like, oh my God, look at that person. They're dragging that dog along, right? And a lot of times, guys, that's what we look like in our business. We look like it, right? And I don't know if you guys are guilty. I'm so guilty. That's where I'm like, I'm going to make you have success if it's the last thing that I do. If it kills me, I am going to be dragging along. And guys, listen, we're trying to drag them. They are bloody. They are bruised. They're just kind of listen, I'm done, right?
Yep.
But I think for a lot of times we want it so bad for them. But I will also tell you that sometimes it's also our ego. It's our ego that gets in the way where we're like, oh my gosh, if they don't have success, it's all on me. It's all my fault. When the reality is, guys, guess what? People get in this business and they got to own it. They got to take responsibility. They have to want it. They have to have the desire to do the do, right? And if they don't have the desire, that's not your fault.
Yep.
Right? I always tell people, it's not your job to make someone successful, but it is your job to make someone get started correctly, right? So whatever that looks like in your business, your onboarding process, your getting started, whatever it may be, right? So please do me a favor. Don't be that guy or girl that's dragging that dog, right? You guys got the visual, right? Along the sidewalk. And, because again, they got to want it. They got to have that. And here's what I will tell you guys too, is that you can't create the desire, right? They either have the desire or guess what? They don't got the desire, right? It's just how it is.
Well, and what happens too is that you leave the good people that are around you, that are around your business, to fend for themselves.
Right? And they're like, "Don't. What about me? What about me?" Oh my God, do you guys see my flabby arms? I'm so working on not having flabby arms. Oh my gosh. Anyways,
beautiful arms.
Thanks. So, but that's what we're doing, right?
Yes.
And there's these people that are raising their hands in your business, and you're so worried about this dang dog that you're trying to drag, right, on the leash. And it's they're having a hard time, right? And so I want to encourage you guys, pay attention to people that are raising their hand in your business, right?
Yep.
Those are the guys that we need to be focusing on, right? And I think for us, that was such a big piece in our business where we wanted to save everybody. And once we decided, hey, listen, we're not going to focus in on that. We're going to find the people that are hey, I'm in.
Yep.
And we worked with those guys to help them have their little wins, their little successes, right? And then obviously went on to bigger wins. Number one, it took so much pressure off us we had so much more fun, right? We had so much more fun.
Well, and here's the thing too, is it's a trap. And here's what I mean is that it becomes way more difficult for
Right.
you to stay motivated.
Yeah, totally.
Because you're just bummed out. You just don't want to do the business. You just don't want to get up and go after it because you're just like, oh man, I got to go and, save this person, drag this person across the line, get them motivated, keep them inspired today, get them to try to recruit somebody, get them to try to get a customer. And you're just like, man, I don't want to do this. Like, I am not fired up to do this anymore.
Exactly.
So you got to watch that because it will really run you out of the business before you can run in the business.
Right. Well, I think what we talk about too, it's like, guys, we end up spending like all the people that we're trying to drag over the line, like those are kind of what Tony and I call like the problem children, right? And we all have had those people in our life. Maybe we have them in our life right now. Maybe you have some right now. Don't drop me an emoji if you do, because maybe some of your team might be on this live, right? We don't want to do that. But we spend so much of that time with those people, right? Versus the ones that are hungry, that are teachable, that are doing the daily methods of operation in our business, right? So I know Brian, the man is here. Crazy, crazy. So number one, Martyr, right? So drop me a 2 if you promise me that you're going to do your very best to not be that martyr, right? To not be that person that is focusing on dragging people over the line.
And I'll say the last thing I'll say about this is this. Do not take talented people for granted.
Right.
Around you in your business and let them work without you, because a lot of times they're like, oh, they got this. They're amazing. Look at them go. They still need you.
Yes.
And don't leave them alone.
Yes. People think, oh, well, just because they're doing this and they're rocking and rolling, they definitely still need you. Right? It's kind of like you guys have seen those things that people have posted on Facebook, like, hey, check in on your strong person, right? Check in on your strong friend, check in on your strong girlfriend, right? The same thing is in your business here is you got to check in on those guys too. Don't just assume they got it. You still got to wrap your arms around them, be with them, guide them. How are they doing? How can you best support them? That type of thing, right? And obviously be their number one fan. But I think that is such a great piece of advice, Tony, for doing that.
So, hey, if you're getting some value out of this, let us know. Share this out. Let your team see it. Let the people around you see this so we can give you some love on here. Let's jump into the next one, babe.
Okay, so the next one is control freak. Control freak. I know who you are because I'm one of them. I'm working on it, right? That's why I did that title, Control Freak Anonymous. Both Tony and I are control freaks, so it gets a little crazy in this house sometimes. But man, we've come a long way, baby, haven't we? We've come a long way. So control freak, guys, right? We are the ultimate control freak, right? For us, it's like, I remember early on in our business, I don't even know Eric Worre if you're still watching, but Eric Worre, right now, if he could be on this live, he'd be like, holy crap, you guys would not even believe how these guys were in the beginning of their business. It was crazy for us. I mean, we felt we had to do all the trainings, all the calls. We felt that if it had to get done, it was us. Like nobody could do a better job than we could. We had a hard time passing the baton. We had a hard time like letting other people like come up, when they were coming up through the ranks, we still felt like, hey, I don't think it's the right time for them yet. Yeah. And oh my God, let me tell you, that crushed us. And we had a hard time, what we call like, building layered leadership in our business. We had such a hard time. He's here. He knows. He's like, oh my word. So I think you guys, for us, just the control piece is not being afraid to let people figure it out. Right? Let people figure it out. Like the thing that I love so much about our mentors is they were like, you know what? We're going to let these guys, whether they skin their knees, whether they, go through the good days and bad days, like we're going to let these guys come into their own, right? Yeah. And it was such a blessing for us. And so, we now do our best to really make sure, maybe a little emotional, very emotional. I'll tell you more so than me. Eric Worre right now was like, I was emotional. I know. I was probably exhausting. To tell you the truth, I probably was exhausting. But guess what? I came into my own.
That's right.
I came into my own. So don't be afraid to let people come into their own, right? And just like for those of you that have got kids, right? So drop me a heart emoji if you guys have kids that are on here. We have to let our kids go through it, right? They fall down, they skin their knee, they get back up. We got to let them go with different things. We have to let them learn how to be independent. And so understand like all those experiences, right? I think about all the experiences that Tony and I have gone through over the last, oh my gosh, like 15 plus years has made us who we are today, right? The good, the bad, all of it it's our story, right? So let people learn how to write their story, right? Write their chapter, write all these different just amazing things, right? Because that's what's going to make them relatable to their prospects, relatable to their team, is letting the reins off and letting them figure it out and letting them come into their own, right, is so important.
Yeah, and I think the big thing here is that, you say, well, they can't do it as good as I can do it. They're not going to do the presentation as good as I can do the presentation, or they're not going to be able to, do the call as good as I can do the call. And yeah, maybe you're probably right in the beginning, but you know what? You still got to let them do it. You still got to get out of the way. You still got to let them go and feel good about it and just do it. And guess what? Then you can have that call with them, and then you can tell them, hey, this was great. Try this next time. But you know what? You got to let it go, because if you let them step up and you let them step into their own and you let them run with the thing, I'm just telling you what, you will create more duplication. You will create more growth. You will create more stories. You will be in a culture, in a team environment like no other, because they know it's just not your way or the highway and you're doing everything. So let them go and let them just be themselves. And if they're not as good as you, guess what? Keep them around the fire, keep them around the culture, keep them around the training events. And you know what? They're going to get better.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, guys, if you're feeling like, hey, I feel like I'm stuck in duplication, right? Maybe you've hit a plateau in your business. I would encourage you to kind of step back and look at how are you right now? Like, are you somebody that feels like you have to have your hands on every single person in your business, right? And a lot of times we can do that for a while. But once your organization starts growing and you can't reach all those people, right? There's a big problem. You're going to have a hard time with duplicating. You're going to feel like you're going to see things kind of break off, not good communication or what have you. So here's the thing. If you are a control freak like we were, number one thing we did is this. We learned how to delegate. We learned how to delegate everything that we possibly could do, right? And some of the things Tony talked about. But I really sat down and I tell myself consciously, like, Sarah, is this something that you can delegate, right? Is this something that you can delegate on? If the answer is yes, no matter how hard it is, right? You got to let it go and let them run with it, right? So can you delegate it? If the answer is yes, jam with that.
Yep. Awesome.
All right, guys. So here's the thing. We've got some more tips, but we're not going to go through it on the live. If you want more information in regards to like any of these things, some other things that we did with it, feel free to send us a little private message. We'll be happy to give you some other pointers that we've done and we continue to do, right? Every single day. So we love you guys and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
See ya.